Good afternoon. Sorry, my mistake. I just want to get rid of this transcript option and open the meeting chat. How's everybody doing? Thumbs up, thumbs down. What's the mood? Hi, Sean. Mostly thumbs up. Mostly thumbs up. Yes. And for those who've just joined or have joined already, no, we are not starting or restarting this module. Going back to chapter 1. It's also not Groundhog Day, so it's not a repeat. You're not stuck in the same day and that repeats itself. On Monday, one of the students just asked me, can you maybe just give us an overview of exactly what this module entails? I thought, you know what, it's the start of the third week or halfway through the third week. Maybe it's just a good opportunity to tie all those loose ends, and that's exactly what we'll be doing for the start of today's session. And we're making good time. I had a look at the timetable as well, so it's not that it's going to impact on us not completing the required material, but it's, I think, also very important just to sometimes take that one step back and have a look at the bigger picture, and a lot of things might start making sense. Welcome, Keenan, to everybody that have joined. If any of you are aware of classmates, sorry, and I've got a few side notes that I've made for myself that I'm interrupting myself with. If there are any students that you know is part of your group or were part of your group in the first semester, you haven't seen them because we haven't had contact sessions, but you haven't been in contact with them. If you are aware of anybody who have trouble getting to all the classes, who have specific issues, who might not be on the course anymore, you're welcome to just to let me know about that. Every 2 weeks I check in. I go into Canvas. I see if students have been to Canvas, how long they've been on Canvas. I look at the class attendance. I'm not going to report you to the principal. I'm not going to phone your parents. That's not the reason why we're doing this. But again, it's a sort of a preventative measure. If you have problems now, I might not be able to solve it, but I might be able to refer to somebody who can. Rather than that problem escalating and then a week before exams, it becomes a huge issue and it affects your learning and it affects your assessments, your results and everything then as a result. So this is just a sort of a 2 weekly check-in to see is everybody fine. If you know of anybody that is battling, fine. Student the other day had a problem domestically, phoned me, said, you know what, or emailed me, said, situation, it happened, there was a rain, lots of rain, there was a flood. Obviously, I know if that happens, that's the last thing that you are going to be concerned about is to actually attend the session today. But let me know about that. That's important. So I want to give feedback, or I've planned to give feedback to the academic manager on specific students and their progress. I'm very happy with everybody that's currently in class. You guys have been great. Thanks very much. There's one other logistical issue I just want to get out the way. Oh, and by the way, thanks very much for all of you conducting the class test. Everybody did the class test. One or two students that I'm not sure if they're still on the course, obviously didn't, but everybody has done the class test. And as I said, yeah. How did you experience it? Was it tough? Was it difficult? I know that multiple choice is always, oh, geez, is it now A, B, C, or D? I'm not so sure. But how did you experience it? How was the class test? Multiple choice, you're quite right. Yes, Tarquin, can be confusing. I think the biggest challenge, and again, yeah, part of what we are doing today is sort of a stop the bus, check if everybody's still okay before we continue with this ride. And getting feedback and responding to the feedback on how the first class test has been experienced is important to me. I think one of the main aspects, Keenan, Darwin, that is expressed, that that is confusing. The trend of your class test for this term is going to be similar to yesterday's. Okay. So if at best yesterday was a good exercise to prepare you for what lies ahead, it served its purpose. I know that the format of assessment, multiple choice, and true or false can be confusing. It's often confusing because students, I don't think, always have the skill on how to approach a multiple choice section of questioning or a true or false section of questioning. The reason why I've included or why I've decided on this format and why I'm going to repeat this for class test 2, 3, and 4 is because of what I've experienced with not just you as a group, but with all the groups that I teach to. I found that I think it's just a change in approach that we have to focus on to get better at answering multiple choice questions and true and false questions. And I'll give you a few pointers just now. And because I've identified that a lot of you have struggled with this, not just you as a group, as I said, every group that I've taught in the first semester, that when it comes to that section, on average, people get between 50 and 60% on the multiple choice section. Now, you are going to get fewer and fewer multiple choice questions as we progress, but it is an important component of the assessment process. What I usually do, and take this as some advice on how to approach a multiple choice paper again in future. Multiple choices can be very easy. Why I say it's easy is because all the answers are there. You don't have to. Okay, right. Let's compare two questions. I'm going to ask the same question, and I'm going to do it in two different formats. One, I ask you a question for 5 marks. Name the steps in the consumer decision-making process for me. Right. Now, the student who have studied, or the student who can remember what they've studied, would immediately say to me, okay, that's 5 points in the bag. A, identify the problem. B, gather information. C, evaluate the alternatives. D, the purchasing process, the decision to purchase. And number 5 is the post buying evaluation. Now, 5 marks for that student. The student who couldn't remember that, couldn't remember the 5 steps, or maybe confused those 5 steps with a different concept, will get 0. Why I say it can sometimes be easier if you do multiple choice is the same question can be asked as follows. Identify which of the following are not part of the 5 steps in the selling process, in the customer decision-making process. A, problem identification. B, purchasing. C, post-purchase evaluation. D, prospecting. C, or 5, evaluating the options. Now, 4 of those 5 are one of the 5 steps, and one is not. You have to identify the one that is not. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? The answers are provided to you. You don't have to remember. You just have to remember the steps. But if I say to you, what is the answer for this question? And oh, geez, I'm battling, and I give you a hint, a keyword, and that triggers everything, and then you're off. Now that's what multiple choice questions do. The answers that they give you are the triggers. That's the key. Oh yes, okay, now I can see. So if you still have to study, and I think that's the other problem. Sometimes people think, oh, it's multiple choice, I don't have to study. Not that any of you were guilty of that. I'm convinced that that's not the case. So for what I usually do when I do a multiple choice section of a paper, is I read the question, then I answer the question, and then I look at the options that's provided to me. If you read the question and then look at the 5 options or the 4 options that they give you, it can become confusing. So if you hide the options that's given to you, or not look at the options that's given to you, but read the question, and then on a piece of paper next to you, answer the question, and then look at the options, the chances that you'll improve your performance in multiple choice papers is very, very good. Any questions? Do you understand the example I've used and the explanation I've given you? Do you think that that is helpful? Right. Furthermore, the other component is true and false. Now, true and false, again, that are usually a true or false question provides you with either the correct answer, and then your choice will be true, or it provides you with a twist in a correct answer. Usually, a false answer to a true or false question is not so completely off the chart that you can identify, oh, there's no ways this could actually be true. Okay? So very subtly, and that's where true or false questions, you have to read the question even more carefully, because sometimes they just change 1 or 2 words in a question, and that throws you completely, or that makes the answer sound correct, but it actually is not 100% correct. So true and false, I can sometimes understand, but again, the answer is given to you either in a hidden manner or format, or in a very obvious, this is definitely not correct option. Okay, so I'm convinced that you will get better at this, but please apply these hints that I've shared with you. I know it works, and I think we'll see an improvement. And I haven't looked at the results yet. I just checked to see if everybody did it, so I'm not sure what the results were. Okay, but again, people, it's an opportunity for you to. I think, to do well, because you can do. I struggled with multiple choice options initially myself. I started applying these principles that I've just shared with you, And immediately my marks improved a great deal, and I actually started looking forward to it, to multiple choice, to the multiple choice section of a paper. But you'll find out of a 100-mark question for a formal test or exam, you're probably not going to get more than 10, 15 marks out of 100. That's multiple choice. It's not a guideline or a requirement, but in your formal test you won't find 25 questions that are multiple choice. But if you go into your formal test, or you go into your summative exam, having done 4 class tests, 25 questions each, multiple choice and true and false, you've done sufficient preparation for those 10, 15 questions that you'll find in your exam paper or in your test paper. Okay, something else. Let's get back to what's on the screen. Everybody can see that on the screen? You do. Let me go to the next slide and see. Can everybody see that, what you have on the slide there? The oval shaped, red oval shape on the right-hand side, and all kinds of, it looks like a confusing diagram, and I think, oh my word, what is this? Thank you, Sean. Well, this is your entire module. I'll upload this. This is not in the slide format yet on Canvas, but I'll upload it when I finish. I've still got 1 class after this, and then I'll finish it in the course of the afternoon. I'll upload it with the recording of today's session. But quite simply, people, this is just to give you a bird's eye view and an overview of what this module is about. We're into this already. We're busy with chapter 4 already. So where does everything fit in? Now, the module is about personal selling. In chapter 1, top left corner, what is personal selling? In other words, what do salespeople do? That's what we did in chapter 1. Now, how do they do that? Well, they basically follow the steps in the selling cycle. Chapter 6, prospecting. Chapter 7, planning and sales. Chapter 8, the approach. Also chapter 8, the presentation. Chapter 9, handling objectives. Chapter 10, closing the sale. Chapter 11, following up. What do they do? And these chapters in the red is how they do it. Now, for them to be able to do and follow those steps of the selling cycle, they must have certain skills. And what skills must they have? They must be able to communicate effectively. We did that in the previous chapter, chapter 3. They must have knowledge, sales knowledge, about the product, about the company, about the competitors. And we'll continue with that chapter today. That's chapter 4. Next chapter we'll start with is managing yourself and managing your time. Chapter 5. Those are all skills that you need to have to be able to do the steps in the red oval. Now, once you have done or those steps that we do, that we find in the red oval, the steps in the selling cycle, who do we do it to? We do it to customers, me, you, individuals buying bread, milk, whatever we buy. We're selling services, not products. To customers, we're selling products. We are selling services. That's chapter 13. And we are selling to other businesses. That's chapter 14. All of this happens, and there are external factors that impact on all the activities that you see on the screen. That will get you in chapter 14, which is the ethical and legal issues. Not taking bribes and stuff like that. Not selling a product to somebody and not disclosing everything that the product does or can't do, and then, you know what, there's a comeback because the product didn't do what you said it would do, but you actually lied to the customer. and then also using technology to communicate. We've touched on some of it in this early chapters, but chapter 15 will specifically be looking at how do you communicate by using the modern technology to perform those steps that form part of the selling cycle. So in other words, people, just to summarize again, what do salespeople do? Chapter 1. How do they do that? Chapters in the red block. What skills do they need to have to be sure that they can do those steps effectively? That we find in that block, chapter 3, 4, and 5 on the left-hand side. Who do we do these steps to? We do that to businesses because we are selling to a business, but we're also selling to customers. And we are selling products and we are selling services. That's chapter 13. We always do that in an ethical manner. We always follow the letter of the law, and that's where chapter 14 comes in, the legal and ethical issues. And we always remember that we use the technology that's most appropriate for the particular target market that we are selling to. Chapter 15. Is this of any help? Do you have a better idea of how your course is now structured and where all the chapters fit in? It's not just chapters 1 numbered right through to chapter 15 and anything. Oh my goodness. Sure, we just finished a chapter today, now we're starting another chapter. I actually have an information overload. I don't know how to, where do I start? Where do I fit? Is this of any help? Is it giving you a bit more peace of mind to say, okay, I can actually take that step back and this is going to help. So please, people, whenever throughout the course, you get to that point where you think, I don't know where I am at the moment. I think I've lost it. This is where you come back to. Come back to this slide, look at it, revisit it. You can even print it for yourself if you want to, and keep it next to you to always see where you are going. To track your progress through the course, maybe even to tick off the chapters as we finish. Whatever you do with this, it will be available to you on Canvas. It's a tool for you to just take that snapshot, take that one step back and look from the outside in again. Okay, are we all good? Right. Before we continue with the next chapter, I'm going to upload the new chapter for us now. Before I upload the next chapter, I just want to engage in have a general conversation. I think what I'm going to revert to, I've actually haven't done it for a while, and I thought, you know what, it's actually we should go back to that, because that's actually it's something that we can use very effectively, and that is to start every week off with a good and a bad news item that is in the news at that point. And I'm going to kick off today just to give you an example of what I want you to prepare for every Monday. When we have that Monday session next week, I'm going to ask anyone. I mean, I want all of you to prepare, but I'm going to ask any one of you, and I'm doing it randomly. There's absolute no hidden agenda with my choices. I'm going to do it completely random. I'm going to ask somebody to give me a good news item and a bad news item that they, not that you necessarily have personal experience, but that you read in the newspaper, or that you saw on your phone, or that you Googled, or that that your dad told you about, something that everybody knows about, or something good or bad. And we'll take that and we use that as a sort of a theme for the following week. I know that we have already started with this chapter, and I think we've progressed up to the point where we've finished with the training of salespeople. I'm just going to advance to, oops, now I've gone too far with that now. Right, sales training, that's where we finished off last time. Just to share something with you, something, you know what, today is good and bad news. Just to give you an example. And and that's your own choice. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean that something else is not important to. Bad news. Bad news for me today. The bad news item for today. The unemployment rate in South Africa. A study was done among 82 countries. South Africa came out number one. Now, that's not the list that you want to be number one. Out of the 82 countries, highest unemployment rate of all 82 countries. 35% of our population are unemployed. More worrying for me was the fact that 2 out of 3, that's 65, 66% of people of your generation, 25 years and younger, do not have a job and are not studying to get a job. So, the silver lining to that is that you are busy studying. And sometimes it is tough and it is difficult. And we have our own challenges. We're not in this alone, but you are better off than the 2 other people in your age group who's not doing what you are doing currently. So if you're holding a job and you're doing a part-time job, you're doing 2 or 3 part-time jobs, and you're studying, you're fortunate. Look at it like that, because it's what it is. You are very fortunate if you're one of those 3, and all of you I'm talking to now, and everybody on this course is one of those 3 people who are fortunate enough to be studying, and then also realize in the process that you improve your chances of getting a job immensely if you actually complete your qualification, if you do study after school. It's the bad news of the unemployment rate was a trigger, yes, but it also provides an opportunity, because everything bad offers an opportunity. The Afrikaans saying is, die een se dood is die ander se brood. You know what? That's basically what it is. It's not everybody for himself, but it's taking those opportunities that come your way. You have an opportunity and you're busy using that opportunity to study, and it's extremely important that you actually make the best of this. And therefore, communicate with me. If you're having problems, if you're struggling, I can promise you I won't be able to solve all your problems, but I'm pretty sure I will find somebody that can help you. So share with us, communicate with us, because we're all in this together. And it's not necessarily to say, oh, geez, why should I continue studying? I'm not going to get a job anyway. No. You will always be in a better position to start. It's like people. It's the same approach that people have who does not want to vaccinate themselves. Do you know how many people? What the population of South Africa is? Any idea? Just a guess. Last number you heard. South Africa. Darwin, South Africa, not Western Cape. I said this with a smile. There are 62 million people in South Africa. There are 60 million people living in the United Kingdom. We all know what that is. That's Great Britain, Scotland, England, right? 60 million people live in the UK. 62 million people live in South Africa. In South Africa, yesterday we had close on 10,000, just over 10,000 new positive COVID cases. And 369 people died. In the UK, similar population to South Africa. They had 32,000 new positive cases yesterday. 40 people died. Now, why is that stats important? It's important because it shows you that where people have an entire country that has been vaccinated, as opposed to our country where 10 million people out of the 62 have been vaccinated, that's the result. People can go to their football games and there can be 60,000 people at a Premier League game without masks, some with masks, some without masks, but definitely not social distancing, sitting right next to each other. Why? Because they have been vaccinated. It also means that although they had 32,000 positive cases and only 40 died, that the vaccines work, because you will not be able to engage in activities like that if you know that you run the risk of obtaining the virus, but also you do it because you know the vaccine has reduced your chances of being infected, and the impact if you do get infected by 90%. People who will not take those odds. It's exactly the same that you can apply to you studying at the moment, as opposed to somebody who's not studying at the moment to get a qualification. Right, but then also in that same subject, there's also some good news, people. The good news for today is that they might have found a potential cure for the COVID virus. Who heard about that? Who's read about that news? Anybody know about that? It was published about 10 hours ago.
First time hearing about it, sir.
Who do you think? I was surprised. I fell off my chair when I read it, when I heard it the first time. A company in Belgium have been doing, some scientists in Belgium have been doing testing over the last number of months. And they took the antibody of a llama. That animal that is part of the, or that's part of the camel family. You know what? It's a miniature camel without the hump, basically, so to speak, okay? They took antibodies from the camel, and basically the results was like taking a gun to a knife fight. If the virus is bringing a knife to the fight, then the llama is bringing a gun. It destroyed the virus entirely. Every single time it was boom, it was like, you pull a knife, gone. So hopefully this is just the start, and I thought that yes, we all believe that at some point we'll find a cure for it, and hopefully this works out well. I just thought I'll share it with you because for me that was good news, because yeah. So go Google it, Belgium or llama and the virus, or llama fighting the virus. It's mind-boggling, but anyway. That's my good and bad news items. People, we can use that as a theme on what we are currently busy with and apply that to sales and why it's important to have sales knowledge. It's appropriate for where we are at this moment, but I also would like to continue with this. But now from next week on, you guys are going to give me good and bad news items. I will have my own because I mean I'm just I just love reading. So I mean I'm constantly finding new information wherever I can. So I would love you to do this, and I would love us to continue doing this and then use that particular items that we've identified as a theme for the week, so to speak. We have not done any new work today, and I think it's not a bad thing, because sometimes I think it's important just to sit back and just to take a breather. So I'm actually not going to continue with any new work. Anybody has any questions at this stage? I just want to double check and see our next session is, where's my notebook? Let me find my notebook. Our next session tomorrow is, oh my word, I've gone way far too back. I'm in May 2021. That May is already gone. Okay, right, let's go back to tomorrow. We have a early morning 9:35. if I'm correct, we chat to each other again 9:35, and then we'll resume with chapter 4, sales knowledge. And then we have another period. Thursday tomorrow we only have the one, and then we have the two on Friday. Right, people. If all's good, I hope today was valuable, at least to help you with future multiple choice tests and class tests and exams, and that you have a bigger overall picture of what this module is about and where everything fits in. Any questions, anybody at this stage? Are we all good? Thank you very much. Thanks for everybody's responses. All good. Thank you, Tarquin. If you haven't been out on the waves, now would be a good time. Luanda, just your question, what must we do? I don't understand your question. You have to do nothing at this stage except come to class again tomorrow morning. You don't understand question 3. Is that question 3 in your assignment? Right. I will look at question 3 in your assignment. I've got 5 minutes to get to my next class, so unfortunately I can't give you an elaborated answer to that. Luanda, what I'll do is I will look at question 3 and I will email you a response as to exactly what is reply, and then I will repeat that in class tomorrow. Okay, is that good with you? Right. Thanks for everybody for attending today. I will reply to Luanda's question about the question in the assignment, and then I will address it in class so everybody gets feedback on exactly what to do with question 3 in the assignment. Okay, everybody keep well, be safe, follow the rules, and everything should be fun. And then look after yourself, and we will chat again tomorrow morning at 9:35.